Come on. Do I sound like I'm joking? Do I sound like I'm playing? When you look into my eyes, you understand what I'm saying? Let me say it to you slowly, and it may sound scandalous. I don't think that you can handle this.
All right, let's move on to the nightcap. And this is the game of Thanksgiving. This is the one to be thankful for, I think. We have the 5-6 Miami Dolphins head into Green Bay to face the 8-3 Packers. The projected total is 46.5 points, while the Packers are 3-point favorites. That means Vegas is telling us that the final score will be the Miami Dolphins 21.75, while the Green Bay Packers score 24.75. As far as injuries, we have Tyreek Hill constantly on the injury list with his wrist injury. Although he's catching balls behind his back during practice, I don't quite get it. Meanwhile, Romeo Doubs is in concussion protocol, and at least in theory, should not be ready before this Thursday night game. Mike Steph, what do you think about this game? Who you got?
Well, I'll start with the Dolphins. You know, it's a funny thing that happens when your QB when your quarterback is healthy to run the system that was tailored for him. The Miami Dolphins have won 3 straight and now have a good chance of sneaking into the postseason if they keep it up. 11 touchdowns to 1 interception for Tua since he's been back for his last 5 games. Jalen Waddle finally broke out with a 144-yard, 8-catch performance against the Pats this week. And even if the Dolphins lose this game, the remaining schedule is passable. They have 2 games once again against these Jets and a game against the Browns, albeit it is on the road, and it's going to be in very harsh conditions for this South Beach Miami team. But that remaining schedule isn't the hardest to navigate. Now, switching over to the Packers are winners of 6 or 7, and in any other year, they'd be in prime position to come out of the NFC as Super Bowl contenders. They're 8-3, and you know, at that record, they're currently in the 2nd wild card slot, 3rd in the NFC North. The NFC North that currently inhabits the 10-1 Detroit Lions and the 9-2 Minnesota Vikings. For those of us that watched our NFC North preview, we kind of did predict that at least 3 teams are going to get in there, but I digress. Josh Jacobs has begun to find his stride in clutch time during the latter part of the season. Jacobs was given the ball 26 times as a rusher and turned those touches into 106 yards and 3 touchdowns on a healthy 4.1 yards per carry. The most important takeaway of this game, though, is the fact that all of Jacobs' touchdowns came in the red zone, an area that, if has been any blemish on the Packers, has been red zone efficiency. Using that same formula against the Dolphins, especially since the temperature in Green Bay is supposed to be below freezing on Thursday night. So, with that being said, I'm taking the Packers -3 because I just have that much faith in the Packers. And the over-under, I am going to go, this is like really like throwing a dart blindly. I'm going to go under because, like I said, I think the conditions are going to come into play. That should favor Green Bay. Miami, until proven otherwise, is not a good, not even an average cold weather team. And on the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, I could very easily see this being a sleeper game that Green Bay dominates. So Green Bay -3, over under.
All right, so Miami has turned a corner with Tua back. They've won their last 3 games, and they've scored 34 points in their last 2. In those 3 games, they beat the Rams by 12, the Raiders by 15, the Patriots by 19. Obviously not murderer's row there, but winning pretty convincingly. Meanwhile, the Packers have won 6 of their last 7, and their only loss was to the Lions. Last week, they beat San Francisco 38-10. But there's a caveat there. Purdy was unavailable, so San Francisco starting backup quarterback. Another note about the Packers' recent wins. Prior to San Francisco, their 3 wins prior to that were the Bears, the Jags, and the Texans. And they won those by a total of 6 points. 3 wins, 6 points. This game really could go either way because I think both of these teams are actually really good. With that said, I really liked how the Dolphins are playing recently. I think this game is a bit of a toss-up. The weather does make me concerned a little bit, but I like the Dolphins +3 because, like I said, I think this is a little bit of a pick'em game. I think this could go either way. As for the over-under, like I said, the Dolphins have scored 34 points in their own recently. The Packers' offense somehow clicks. One thing I want to point out about both of these offenses, they do things differently every week. The Dolphins used to be all Hill, sometimes Waddle, but now you have Achane, you have Jonnu Smith, you have just people come out of the woodwork to score. On Green Bay's side, literally you never know which wide receiver is going to have a big game. Well, we probably know it's not going to be Dobbs if he's out with the concussion. But Jaden Reed is out there. Christian Watson is out there. Jacobs went crazy at running back last week. Devontae Wicks has big games. This game is going to be very hard to predict as far as betting, and even harder to pick as far as fantasy. But as far as predictions here, I got Miami +3, and I'm going over to 46.5 points.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement podcast. I am Brad Winchester.
And I am Tyler McDowell Blanken. Join us every week on GI, where we talk about what happened in pop culture, our lives, and most importantly, professional wrestling.
Five teams currently in the AFC playoff positioning Miami will have to go to, and all five are cold weather teams: Denver, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Buffalo, Kansas City. So you're saying that they could go into any of those environments and realistically beat any of those teams?
I would not want to face the Dolphins in the first round of the playoffs if I'm any of those teams. Now, do I think the Dolphins are legit Super Bowl contenders? No, because even if they make the playoffs, I don't think they can make it through multiple of those teams. But on any given Sunday, I think they can knock any of those teams off. All right, before we get to Survivors, we do have the Black Friday game. And this one's a doozy. The 2-9 Los Angeles Raiders are heading to Kansas City to face the 10-1 Chiefs. Projected total, 42.5 points. The Chiefs are 13-point favorites. That means that Vegas is telling us projected score would be the Raiders 14 3/4, the Chiefs 27 3/4. Some key injury news as far as the Raiders are concerned. Starting quarterback Gardner Minshew broke his collarbone last week. He will be done for the season. But they have the return of Aiden O'Connell. It looks like he's going to come off the IR to start this week. If not, Desmond Ridder is their backup. And then at running back, it's actually was at least worse last week, as Alexander Madison and Zamir White both did not play last week. If they're out again, Sincere McCormick was their leading rusher. Mike Steph, I feel like I know football pretty well. I had never heard of Sincere McCormick. All right, anyway, what do you think about this game? Who you got? Can the Raiders do it?
We're going to start with the Raiders here. AP hasn't captured that fire from last season. AP, I'm referring to Antonio Pierce. The season started off bad with uneven quarterback play and the Devontae Adams trade drama hovering over the team. And to me, tell you the truth, they have never recovered from that at the very beginning. They had a 2-2 start, and that 2-2 start has turned into a 2-9 record currently. Desmond Ridder, if he is to start, really brings nothing to this team. Don't you know the Raiders have actually gotten turned down by Daniel Jones of all people? When Daniel Jones cleared the waiver wire, I guess they made an inquiry, and DJ was like, "Nah, I'm good." Another rebuild is on the horizon, and the reason why I'm going on all these darn tangents and really not being focused on this game because I have one question: why didn't they flex this game? Why? Like, was that not possible? The only hope that the Raiders have is to continue the Chiefs tough as they normally do, even though I don't think it's likely in this case. Now, going over to the Chiefs are 10-1, which is crazy. Not crazy because of talent, because yeah, it is. Like the Chiefs are going for that three-peat, but they have failed to look dominant any time this year. But they just win, and tell you the truth, winning is the most important thing. But when you need a last-second field goal by Hunter Schaefer, something like that, the quarterback, I mean the kicker that they got off the Jets practice squad, when you need a last-second field goal to hold off the Carolina Panthers, it's a little bit concerning. Is it just the case of biding their time until the real season, the postseason begins? Or is this something deeper that's going to rear its ugly head in the postseason? That's fails to be seen, because the only team that's been able to capitalize on the uninspired, I wouldn't say the uninspired play of the Kansas City Chiefs has been the Buffalo Bills. So with all that being said, there's two schools of thought. Chiefs haven't covered a double-digit spread the whole season, I don't believe. So you could think it's about time. And the Raiders, they don't have no offensive output, but their defense. I'm not saying their defense is great, but they always play the Chiefs tough. And the one thing we've learned over the last week or so is these spreads you can kind of throw out the door when it comes to division rivalry games. Look, we just have a example with the Cowboys and the Commanders. Cowboys was underdog by 10.5 points, and they ended up winning that game. So I will go Raiders plus 13. That over under, I will go under, because I just don't see the Raiders being able to put up that many points, but I don't see the Chiefs outright blowing them out. So yeah, Raiders plus 13, over under.
This game just lacks interest for me. But as we talked about, the Raiders have lost 7 straight. Kansas City's 10-1. But their last 3 games, they beat Denver 16-14. Denver was blocked. Their last second field goal was blocked. Denver probably should have won that game. Then they lost to Buffalo by 9. And then they beat Carolina in overtime 30-27. In addition, the Chiefs are 4-6-1 this year against the spread. So although they're 10-1, they have a losing record against the spread. All of that leans one way, and I'm still going the other way. Patrick Mahomes, after this Panthers game, said that we need a blowout. I think he is going to rally this offense to actually score enough points to make this happen. The defense cannot possibly give up points to O'Connell and crew, or possibly Desmond Ridder and crew. Can they, Mike Steph? Don't answer that. I'm going Kansas City Chiefs minus 13. That total, it's a little bit difficult for me because I think my mind says clearly under, but I'm also saying that the Chiefs are going to score a lot of points, which makes it a little bit more dangerous. I'm still going under. They're going to win 30-10.
See, one thing I would be worried about is, by him saying that, to me, it seems like he would be pressing to make sure that they would get extra. They would, put the ball in the end zone and go one or two ways. But that touchdown to interception ratio is really out of whack for Patrick Mahomes for his whole entire career. So that would be worrisome to me, for him to actually say, yeah, we need a blowout. Okay, you're going to say that against your division rival?
My theory behind it is that I think Mahomes in particular has been coasting, because he's like, whatever, regular season, let's just get to the playoffs and make some magic happen. But I think this particular week, I think he will not coast. And this is a team that if he's not coasting against, I think he can exploit.
Certain teams, it's just, I don't know, it's a gut feeling. Certain teams, when it comes to these double-digit spreads, I have to really look at it like, are they that team? And it's one thing to bet money lines, another thing to bet spreads. And just the nature of, it's a Friday game. It's an extra short week. It's like in between the short week between. It's not a Thursday game. It's a Friday game. It's the holiday season. It's a division rival. That's in all the trends. Kansas City has been winning ugly. It just all that leads to me to think of that 13. That's like a all right. You gonna take that 13. Take that 13. So that's where my mind goes when it comes to saying the rated plus 13. I think they'll probably lose by 12.
All right, Mike Steph. We have to do this today. Well, we have to do this for this episode because a good portion of the games are going to be Thursday and Friday. So we have to get into Survivor mode now. In particular, because the biggest spreads are on Thanksgiving and then Friday. So we literally only have 4 games that are 6 or more points, Mike Steph. So I'm going to list those for you, and then you could tell me if you like another game, if another game interests you. Okay, ready?
Okay.
All right. On Thursday, the Bears are heading to Detroit to face the Lions. The Lions are 10-point favorites. On Friday, as we just discussed, the Raiders are heading to Kansas City to face the Chiefs. The Chiefs are now 12.5-point favorites. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are heading to Carolina. Tampa Bay is a 6-point favorite. And then San Francisco, the 49ers are heading to Buffalo. Buffalo is 7-point favorites. Mike Steph, do you trust any of these games? And if not, where else would you go? Because there are a couple of games here that have big spreads, but most people probably already picked those teams.
A lot of people might be tempted to take the Bucs over the Panthers. I personally think that's going to be an upset. I think the Panthers are probably going to win, just based on how they're trending. And they were winners of 2 in a row before the Kansas City game, and like I said, they almost pulled that one off. So it would not surprise me if the Panthers beat the Bucs. I'll go out on a limb. I'll say the Panthers over the Bucs. That's going to be my hidden gem pick of the week. Because like I said, I do like how the Panthers has been starting to put it together. And I think they're going to use that close loss against Kansas City as a bolstering of confidence for their overall team, especially their offense. As for the no-brainer pick, this might be funny because you would say the no-brainer would be the Lions over the Bears. No, not in particular, because everybody's probably picked the Lions already. And the team I'm going to use is probably a team that people have used already, but it's just the tale of 2 teams. Bills coming off a bye at home against the 49 team that's struggling, and I don't even know if Purdy's going to be able to play this week, and if he does, he's going to be compromised. Quite sure. Bills not trying to lose any more ground to Kansas City, especially if Kansas City wins. They're still going to be focused because they know all they have to do is just catch them for a tie, and they got the tiebreak in hand. So I would go Buffalo over San Francisco. That would be the no-brainer pick. Pick of the week, hidden gem pick of the week would be Panthers over the Bucs.
Well, first of all, I'm with you on the Tampa Carolina thing. I think Tampa's going to win, but I would not play that in Survivor. I actually also think I like Buffalo against San Francisco, but as far as that being a no-brainer, I don't know. My brain definitely questions it. That's if I'm forced to it. Obviously, the Lions and the Chiefs are both. Those to me are the ones to pick if you have them. I don't think I have them in most leagues. So my game, going out on a limb, this is one of those weeks that I will just put it on the line. And every single time I've put it on the line and this team has been mentioned, it's gone the wrong way. But I'm doing it one more time. I'm going against the Giants and taking the Cowboys if I'm forced into it. Now, like I said, the Lions, definitely. Kansas City, definitely. That Bills game, yeah, maybe. But I think I'm going to take the Cowboys before the Bills. Yeah. Mike Steph, we need to get out of here.
I'd like to wish everyone out there a happy Thanksgiving to you and yours. We're at the beginning of that season, even though you should always be mindful. but we're at the beginning of that season where the holiday season is tough for a lot of people that have lost loved ones, lost family members, close friends, so forth. And we have to keep that in mind, that even though we might be in a good place, others might not be, and try to also shine some sunlight on this situation, and just be grateful and count your blessings for the situation that you find yourself in, whether it could be better or worse. So before I get out of here, I do want, once again, I usually don't promote, but I have a special episode this week of the Salty Thoughts of Mike Steph with 19 Media Group compadre Desmond Powell, host of Hip to the Games. We have a 3-hour, yes, I said it, a 3-hour extravaganza. So take two weeks to digest it, because I will not be dropping an episode this weekend. But we touched on a lot of topics. It was a grand old time. It was such a good time. I was like, you know what? I'm not cutting this in half. So right now he is currently in the leaderboard for participating in the longest podcast under my banner. Yeah, so please check it out. It's currently on YouTube channel of Mike Steph, and it will be on all streaming platforms where podcasts are available toward the end of this week. With all that being said, once again, happy Thanksgiving and Hidden Gems football. Have been a part of the 19 Media Group. Goodbye.
Enjoy your turkey.
He needs to be in a pot somewhere, stuffed.
This is a 19 Media Group presentation.
And I'm quite sure the Mojo Prince probably outdoes the Mojo King when it comes to helping. I could say that, and I know he won't be no pushback. He's like, look, all right, if you're gonna throw a shot at me, but get the shine to my son, by all means. Listen, I know my bro. Yeah. You just need to put a couple grapes in the orifice. Cause we had and then when I say my bum was sore, sure, I couldn't, man, that was crazy. And I see my face, I'm like, what am I doing on there? Is this let me start this over again. And it's just crazy that I just said that, because I know you're gonna cut that shit up and just say, my bum is sore.